Fight Time Network. Welcome back, everybody, to Fight Time Network. Bonjour. UFC is in Paris, France this upcoming week, and we're back after Labor Day. Hopefully, you all had an amazing weekend, chilled, got some stuff done, whatever you needed. But we're getting our fix back, baby. How you doing, Lee?
Pretty good, pretty good. I'm coming from AFP in Ohio where we had our pretzel bites and beer, and we're going right into UFC Paris where we got our red and red wine.
Hell yeah, let's get it. Coming from Lee just a little bit ago, one of the main card attractions was canceled. Fares Ziahan versus Kyle Fernandez. Is that right, Lee? As we know right
Yeah, so
now.
from what I gather from a lot of reputable sources on social media is Faraz Ziham had his grandmother pass away. Feel sorry for the family and all the condolences in that regard. So he's pulled out of the fight and ultimately will schedule on a later date. Can't knock the guy, man. Family is everything, but nonetheless, that leaves Fernandez without an opponent. I don't know if there's a replacement they're going to happen on the card yet, but that just came in probably earlier today or yesterday.
Hell yeah. So let's jump into it, though. We're going to be starting off the main card, UFC Paris. See, a little rusty, only a week off. Patricio Pitbull, 37-8, against Lacine Keita, 16-1. Might be Keita. I don't see Pitbull being able to keep up with Lacine. 27 years old, 145. Octagon champ. Kind of have the same styles, man, but he's 27, one's 38. I see this going towards Keita's way. What you got, Lee?
Man, Octagon is one of those promotions that you can just never sleep on. If a guy's coming from Octagon, it is one of those top tier levels. Probably a better skill level than Bellator because a lot of the guys that can't get out of Europe are coming through Octagon, KSW, and like that. And I mean, if you've ever watched a full Octagon card, man, they are entertaining as hell. Like they are some of the best fights that every fight that they show would get fight of the night on UFC. So these guys are coming battle tested and ready to put down. And this 27-year-old coming out of a German promotion, what is he, 5 in his last 6? He's
Yep.
win 5 fights straight, and
Three finishes out of
ultimately
those 5.
absolutely just a absolute tank. 10 wins in the Octagon promotion under that banner. And then you got Patricio Pitbull that barely just squeaked one by against Danny Ige. I think our answer's written on the wall with
Yeah.
Keisha here.
Yeah, I'm not going to jump in the bush too deep on this. Tricio ain't got what it takes. He's going to underestimate the Black Panther coming in. I just feel like it's going to wait. I'm not going to waste too much time having to explain this when you all see this Saturday. And don't forget, everybody, the card starts at noon Eastern in America if you're near me.
And with Keisha, you look at the 3 of his last 5 wins against Paradiser, against Bogdanin, against Samazidze, all in the Octagon. I think I've caught one of these. And it's all the second round where he gets these finishes. He goes through the first round, he gets his reads, and then he just makes that decision in the second round that obviously puts them out. He's gone to a decision that were both 30-27s against Saradari and against Legursky. I certainly think that he's going to have the blueprint and just the overall tenacity and adaptability in order to beat Patricio. Patricio really has his work, probably more so than Ige, probably more so than Batista. I think certainly he's going to have it against him this week.
Yeah. Not very many arguments from my side, bud. I think it's going to be a one-way street. And I don't see a finish. I think it goes all 3 rounds.
Yeah.
Probably going to be a very boring fight, but we'll see. Modestus Bukauskas, 18-6, coming up against Paul Craig, 17-9. Oh, Paul Craig's done. Wash. It's a very one-sided fight. Plus 280 Paul Craig. I don't think Bukauskas is stupid enough to just be hanging out on the ground with him too much. And Paul Craig's not going to offer much on the feet. So, I mean, yeah.
And I mean,
Craig
you
gonna be
look
able
at
to get
the
him down.
You look at the history of Bukauskas, though, and coming back from the worst defeats that you can ever imagine. Like, he loses to Khalil Roundtree for a career-ending injury to what would end the careers of most, where he just booted him in the side of the knee. And then he comes back and he win. Not only does he come back, but he wins. He wins two in a row outside the UFC that gets him back to the card. He beats Tyson Pedro and comes back against Zach Puga. Loses one to Petrino, but now he's on a 3-fight win streak where he's even got his last fight. He got the judge's nod from Kutalaba. The consistency is far more than Bukauskas. His fight IQ is far better than Paul Craig, and his urgency to finish you is far more than Paul Craig. He's going to try to knock you out. Right. He isn't going to hope that you land in his guard in a bad position.
Yeah, you couldn't explain that any better, dude. Damn. Yeah. I just don't feel like Bukowski's is going to put himself, like you said, in the bad position where Paul Craig's going to be able to do anything that threatening. I mean, he might get a little close a couple times here and there, but I don't necessarily be able to see him control Bukowski's in a certain situation. Not
absolutely. And if he fails to do so in those moments, Bukowskis has the power to put you out. He showed that against Sakara.
Craig's a one-trick pony, man. Like,
for Paul Craig to get knocked out against Johnny Walker going in for a shot, I don't think it would take much for Bukowskis to put together a game plan in order to combat what Craig has to offer to him.
I mean, truthfully, it's probably Paul Craig's last fight, so I'd imagine
he might live too, because I love Paul Craig. I love the possibility. I love the story behind it. But unfortunately, if you've only got one move this day and age in the UFC, which is an overhook and a bad triangle at the last moment, you know what? It's not going to carry you too far. He beat the reigning defending champion at the last second of the round where the fight he was down, a 1,000,000-to-1 moment. And I mean, he'll have that to carry for the rest of his ultimate life. But I mean, it's just you've got to have more than that just to stay on top. And unfortunately, he just did not close the gap with the striking, which he needed to in time in order to survive at this division.
Yeah. Been a good time knowing him, but it's time for him to go, especially with all his losses he's had lately. They haven't looked too good. Still has a little bit of fun. I mean, he's on 3 straight and a no contest. Last win was against Munoz. It just is what it is. He's about to get worked. Hopefully he don't get beat up too bad on his outgoing fight, but we'll see. Koskis is a bad matchup for him. Moving on to a lightweight bout. Borralho Oki, 10-2, or Oki. Borralho Oki. There's Mason Jones, 16-2. Jones, 30, 29, Oki. Same height, same weight, pretty much same reach, Lee. What a good statistical matchup here. Gonna be a very high-paced grappling match. You think Oki can keep Mason Jones off him? I think he can. So it's gonna come down to the feet. They both like to throw in the feet. This has got some fireworks written all over it here.
I
really like
wholeheartedly have to disagree with you. So, I mean, ultimately, Oki does have some very powerful striking, but I in no way think it's any slicker than David Onama. And Mason Jones was able to come up with a game plan to beat David Onama back in Cage Warriors with what Onama brings to the table striking. He was able to get underneath him, able to get him pinned, and able to chew up those round times and do enough damage on top in order to get the judge's decision. He also did that in his last fight against a guy like Jeremy Stevens, who is proven himself time and time again that he is UFC caliber, he's BKFC championship caliber, and ultimately he is going to take your head off for 3 rounds in a row. And ultimately what what I was expecting the whole time with Jeremy Stevens, because the bet that we had at Fight Time Network was that to go the distance. And the whole
Yeah.
time I'm like, holy shit, I hope Stevens doesn't knock him out. Oh my God, Stevens isn't going to knock him out. But you know what? He was able to consistently go to the legs, get him down, control him, push him back. And ultimately, he was able to do enough in order for the judges to favor him. So I don't think Oki's going to offer anything different that Stevens has. I don't think Oki's going to offer anything different than Onama has. And Jones coming off that confidence of that win from Stevens is just going to favor him much, much more.
Yeah, the way he looked against Stevens, that's what I was going to say, is a lot of potential coming up through Mason Jones. It's all, I don't know, you never know, man. So you're looking at Oki, he's only lost to Duncan. And Duncan's looked amazing in his last few fights. That fighter, he's on a whole new gear.
He almost lost to Kayumba, though.
Yeah.
Almost lost. And the reason he almost lost to Kayumba because he started to fall apart in the later rounds while Kayumba still had it together. So
Yeah,
ultimately,
Mason Jones ain't gonna
Jones
stop.
proved against Steven that he was going to have a consistent game plan for all 3 rounds. And that's ultimately what decided the factor in Stevens, because that was a close fight too. So ultimately, if Oki falls apart in the later stages and Jones is still going to be there, that could be very problematic and ultimately lead to a finish.
Oki coming in as the underdog, plus 114 right now against a minus 135 Mason Jones. Good pick 'em. Good job for everybody. Maybe even look into that. Throw him on a parlay. Minus 135 for Mason Jones. Good get.
That is legit.
Good possibility. Either way, moving on to your co-main event, Lee. Benoit Saint Denis, 14-3. Mauricio Rufy, 12-1. Rufy back in the building, coming off one of the biggest highlight reels against old King Green. Looked great against Lon Top. Knocked out Jamie Malarkey. You gonna call him stop until he stops, or how we gonna do this, Lee?
Yeah. No, I think Mauricio Rufy is going to knock him out for sure. Because
Yeah,
I mean, ultimately,
me too.
I don't think Benoit Saint Denis has the coaches of the camp to really check him and say like, hey, a guy like Hanato Moicano called something that you do consistently and use it to beat you up badly. A guy like Mauricio Rufy that trains with the Fighting Nerds, that trains with John Silva, that trains with Kai Bahario, that team has a game plan to what they're already going to take to Benoit Saint Denis, and it results in Rufy defending those takedowns, staying on the feet, and each time one of them fails, Benoit Saint Denis is going to have to deal with an onslaught that he's likely not going to stand tall with very long into the first or second round.
The way I see this fight going is Saint Denis going to push the grappling, and then he's going to start to fade them. Mauricio is going to be able to start getting them off him a little more and a little more. Here comes a head kick. Here comes something fancy. And Benoit Saint Denis doesn't really cut the best angles. I think everybody can pretty much agree to that. But I don't see him being able to grapple Rufy to the extent to get the win.
Absolutely not.
And
And you
that's the
guys,
only way I see him winning. I mean, you never know with the crazy knockout. It is fighting this and that. And Benoit
but
Saint,
you're in training camp with guys like John Silva trying to take you down, guys like Kai Bahario.
yeah.
You're dealing with long rangey guys like Olin Jacek and Carlos Prates, man. Mauricio Rufy's got this pretty well bagged, man. He's likely, and I mean they're about the same height, so he's likely going to stay up on his feet. And Benoit Saint Denis after the first couple is going to get hesitant, and I think we see him fall apart from there.
Get it. Main event time, baby. Nassourdine, Imavov, 16-4 versus Kai Borralho, 17-1. What a freaking matchup to start back on the cards, Lee.
In 1 minute.
Woo! Kyle Borralho. Fighting Nerds got two of the biggest stars from that gym here. Oh man, I'm really leaning Imavov. I'm leaning Imavov. What you got for me, Lee? Maybe sway me or agree.
Man, I think we got Kai Borralho in this because when you
Man, it's gonna be
look
such a
at
good fight.
Imavov's last loss, it was against Sean Strickland, and the length and just overall defense is what affected him most. I mean, yeah, he almost lost to Delize. That was pretty close too. So, like, when somebody has proper defense and is also willing to throw with you, that's where I think Imavov falls apart. I mean, Adesanya thought he could click it, and Adesanya made a mistake with some counters there. And then, not to
Yeah,
mention, Borralho is much bigger than Adesanya coming in at 185. Borralho is a very, very large 185er, same as Strickland ultimately is. So I think with the striking defense of Borralho and ultimately the grappling prowess and size and just how hard that fucking guy hits, and the level that he has been on, I think that he certainly gets the win over Imavov. I think it's going to be a particularly close battle. I think people aren't going to. I think both men aren't going to want to make a lot of mistakes here, but I certainly think Borralho is going to keep him on the end of his jab and ultimately pick and chooses his moments where he clinches up, makes Imavov pay each time they break from the clinch, and every time there is one of those breaks, he shoots back in, gets that clinch back up, or he keeps it at his range where he's comfortable. I don't think Imavov's going to get on the inside of him and get any power shots off him that land clean.
man, this is gonna be. I'm so excited for this one, Lee. This is such a good fight. Title contender. Whoever wins this definitely getting a title shot.
Absolutely.
Facts. Oh man,
But I think it's so close in contention, and
it's
I
so
think
close.
the ultimate factor that's going to decide it is just the size of Borralho.
Yeah, same reach. Imavov inch taller. Ooh, I don't know. I'm waiting on this banger. I ain't. Yeah, I'm just
I'll
feeling
tell you right
Imavov,
now,
but
for
I can't really
everybody
pick.
watching on Fight Time Network, our 6 unit play is going to be Kai Borralho. That's how confident I am. I've already locked and loaded. We're
Fuck yeah.
spending the most money on Kai.
What's the odds looking like, Lee?
It's at a minus 135 right now for
Ooh,
Borralho.
dang. Minus 130 on DK right now.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Well, that
And guys,
is
you
breakdown.
got to
Hell.
understand that's not really necessarily a pick of who we like or what's the best, like that statistically in terms of all the betting analysis you could possibly do. It is a minus 135 even, and Borralho loses is a great price, and when it's a great price, that's when you slam the line.
Great price. Listen to Lee when he gives advice like that sometimes. Can't tell you to do it all the time because this is not legal advice.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. I'm taking Imavov though, Lee. I just feel like Borralho is gonna get hit by him and not think he's gonna hit that hard too. And both of them could sleep each other. I'm just leaning Imavov. I think Borralho, his style and this and that. And he's gonna try something too fancy and Imavov's gonna catch him. That's my thought. But we'll see. Who really knows? It's coin flip.
It's a fight. Nobody expected him to knock out Adesanya, and he did. So I can certainly respect that. But I think Borralho's chin and
Yeah.
his fight IQ is way too
I
much
hope
better for
everybody's
that.
pumped for this one because I freaking am. I'm gonna be watching on the big
Hell yeah.
screen. Make sure you check us out on Winnable, winnable.com/fight time caps. Get some. Lee's gonna hand out some fucking gets.
Hell yeah, guys. Jump on there tomorrow if you want to see what's popping with the Dana White Contender Series. We
Ooh.
had a great weekend. You know what? Like, it is when you put out like 10 or 12 bets, even in other sports, people aren't winning 10 or 12 bets, but 60, 70%. And if you have how much you place on a percentage on each of them, we're always going to make out profitable. So out of 3 promotions last week, CFFC won championship, BKFC and Misfits Boxing, we made a profit. That's all really that counts and everything there. I mean, a week ago too, in the PFL, we made plus 14 units profit, which is absolutely insane. I think this week we squeezed out with maybe plus 4, but nonetheless, get it in this weekend. There's KSW, there's Octagon. I think there's another one championship card. We're going to throw Dana White Contender Series up tomorrow night. And of course, we got the UFC, our bread and butter, and we've got all the plays there for you. Hop on the card. Don't miss out.
Oh yeah.
Don't bother doing all the work yourself. Don't spend the time staying up into the wee hours of the morning like we do to get this in. We'll do it for you. All you got to do is tune in.
Hell yeah. See y'all next week, baby.
Fight Time Network.